Good morning, everyone. It's Nisi. Hope you're doing good today. As usual, I hope you're housed and I hope you're fed and I hope you're having a little fun this weekend and doing something that gets your mind off your troubles. I just want to make a little video today for you guys. We're here in the motel for the rest of the weekend. At least we may be going back out on the streets on Monday, but after I go to school on Monday. Anyway, but I wanted to make a little video today on what you can and shouldn't do to help someone who's unhoused. And when I say someone who's unhoused, I'm not talking about someone who has a drug addiction problem. There's a big difference between unhoused people and people with drug addiction problems. They're two totally separate things. So I want you to understand, because a lot of people don't understand this. The first thing they say when they say homeless people are drug addicts, because they think those are the people that you see. The people a lot of times that you see holding signs near freeway entrances or what have you, or intersections, are usually the ones that are addicted to drugs. And there's a big difference between people who have had problems and have lost their home because of the problems, illness, injuries, auto accidents, divorce, domestic violence. There's a lot of different reasons that people end up out on the streets. And the first thing I want you to understand is there are very few shelter beds, at least in Phoenix, Arizona, that are available. At least that's what they're telling people. I don't know if it's true or not. It seems like they've thrown a lot of money into it for it to be this way. So there's definitely a problem going on with the shelter system. So you need to understand that. I've seen single moms in, respite trailers with their kids that can't get into a shelter. So it's a serious problem, definitely. Well, what can you do to help? Because, you obviously don't want to continue someone's drug addiction problem, and that's understandable. You don't want to have someone who has a history of drug addiction staying in your garage or anything else. But there are things you can do to help people that are just down on their luck. First of all, most people that are just down on their luck have probably had a really good rental history. So other than the last eviction, if you look back further than that, you can see whether or not they have a good rental history. If you have some place in your home, such as a casita, maybe an old RV that you can fix up in your yard, there's a lot of places that you could rent or help someone stay for free temporarily until they can get on their feet. That is definitely an option. What I would do is a background check. Do a background check on them. It's easy to do background checks. You can do rental history checks. If they've only had one eviction, they're probably just down on their luck. Because me personally, I have had a stellar rental history up until recently, and it breaks my heart because I was in my last home for almost 10 years. That was my home. It was a little patio home I was renting. Back in 2010, I was renting it for $500 a month, so it was very affordable for me. And, it doubled, and it just kept going up and kept going up, and my money wasn't going up. I was working as a hairstylist, and I could afford, with my tips and what I made, I could afford the $500 a month, and I was able to afford the $600 a month and the $700 a month and the $800 a month, and then it went up to $945 a month, and then it started going up to $1,000, and it just got to the point where I just could not afford it on what I was making. And of course I had an injury to my right arm, which left my right arm unable to be used for about 6 months, and I'm still having problems with it. It's still not completely 100%. But it's good enough now where I could probably work a part-time job and go to school. So that's where I'm at now. So what would be great is if someone had, like I said, a little apartment in their home, a casita. The only reason I'm saying not room for rent, because I just think room for rent with somebody you don't know is probably a scary idea. So if you have like a separate resident, like a casita or like I said, an RV, that would be something you could definitely help. And who needs the help the most, honestly, are single people and couples. Couples with like maybe one dog or something like that, or two dogs. Those are the people that need the most help, because they don't want to give up their pets to stay in most of the shelters, and they don't want to separate from each other to stay in two separate shelters, whether they're married or engaged or just a couple. So, you know, those are the people that need the most help, because, you know, usually the people with kids can get help. They can get, you know, money from DES. They can get into cheap housing pretty quickly if they're like single mothers with children. They're having a little backup now apparently, but normally it is, you know, probably only like a couple weeks for them to get help. I've been trying to get help for like 6-7 months, and I got into a shelter, but they only let me stay there for 2 weeks until they decided to kick me out. So it was not for anything I was doing wrong, but just because it was just an abusive shelter, and they just wanted to mess with me, and you know, until they had an excuse to kick me out. So it had nothing to do with me. I mean, my room was always clean. I'm a neat person, you know. I mind my own business. I don't bother anybody or anything like that. So, but yeah, that's definitely a good idea. And as far as giving people money, sure, you can give people money too. That's always a good idea. Only just make sure that they're people that aren't, you know, going to use it for drugs or something like that. But get to know people. You can go by places where there's shelters or different things and get to know people. That way you feel more comfortable with them. But yeah, I mean, homeless people are just like anybody else. They're just somebody who's fallen down on their luck. There's a great need for shelter. There's tons of people giving away food, which is awesome. People are getting fed, you know. People have dinners at different churches, and there's places you can go pretty much every day. You can go down to Cass and Andre House and get meals there. But it's the shelter that's lacking. It really is. And I would say also, writing your Congress people, writing the mayor, writing the governor, writing the president, anybody you can in government, to, you know, say, I'm concerned about what's going on with housing, because it's outrageous. The rents in Phoenix are so outrageous now. It's like people are dropping like flies and getting evicted. It's a horrible, horrible problem. So yeah, definitely, you know, organize, get involved in the homeless crisis, because it affects everyone. So, and stop having the mindset that the only people that are having problems or don't have a home are bad people that are criminals and drug addicts, because that's not true. So anyway, I just wanted to make this little video, and I hope you guys are doing good, and I hope this turned out well. You know, if you enjoy my content, be sure to subscribe to my channel, and like my video, and leave me a comment. Anyway, have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.